Hello and welcome to our video series introducing the Anritsu MX280005A vector signal analysis software. Anritsu has a number of spectrum analyzers that we sell, and many of them have the ability to capture IQ data in a raw IQ form, and we need a way for our users to be able to manipulate that data, to look at it, browse through it, play it back, convert it to other formats sometimes, analyze it. And so this is our tool to provide that functionality. We'd like to introduce it and give us some demonstrations on how to do the various functions and features. So this is what the application looks like. Title bar, of course, gives you the name of the application. We provide always a screenshot capture so that you can easily capture an image. Often if you're doing playback and analysis, you might have something interesting that you've found or been able to see that you want to share with a colleague or put into a document or report or something. So always a way to simply capture the screen, access to help file and normal Windows controls. We have on the left side here, the application provides various modes of operation: a file browser, we can capture from a spectrum analyzer, viewing the IQ data, a conversion, playback, and analysis routines, and so those are available here, and we'll have a chapter in this video series to cover each of those. We have a main file menu, and then a sort of an area here for the file. We load a file, an Anritsu raw IQ data file, and then that's the file that's operated on by these other modes, and so we want to keep that here. We provide a file menu which allows you to open a recently viewed file or reload a file. There are settings available, so we can come in and this menu will change somewhat as you select different modes. In the most basic thing, the settings really are just the screenshot options of where you want the screenshot to be saved. Our help menu, again, access to the user's guide, same as the help icon. We have specific information on supported spectrum analyzers, so there's a link for each of the supported analyzers to the product homepage on the Anritsu website, as well as quick access to the user's guide for each of those analyzers. We will be providing periodic updates to our software, both for bug fixes, as well as adding new features and modes of operation and analysis, and so you can check there periodically to see if there are new options available. We do provide a number of example data sets that accompany this video. I'll be showing you how to use some of those, and our user's guide walks through some of those things. If you want to play with the example data sets, then they're available to you. They're very large. Well, some of them are small. Some of them are so this one's a gigabyte, half a gigabyte. If we include those in the basic download, it's too large, and so they're available if you choose to do them. And this is a sort of a dynamic list. If we decide there's another demo file set we want to put up, we can add it to our web server, and it'll just become available in the screen. And then we have sort of a normal about box, our company name, of course, and the name of the product, copyright information, but also the registration information. The first three modes here are available to all of our spectrum analyzer users. You download our software free of charge and install it, and those are available to you. If you want the more advanced features, then that requires a special license, and so the licensing information is provided here. We have two modes. There's a node locked license that works specifically with a PC. So if you want to do that, you would generate a registration code. You would send this code through your Anritsu sales channel along with your order, and receive back a license key that you would enter. And then these options become available, the ones that you would purchase and get a license key to. On a specific PC, you couldn't share it with colleagues other than sharing your computer itself. We also have a USB dongle, which I happen to be using at the moment. USB dongle also licenses the same functionality, but it gives you the ability to share that, right? So only one PC can use the dongle at a time, but you can share it among different co-workers, for instance, in an office, if that is advantageous. And so then, and a list of options that are installed. So you might choose only one or two or three of these different combinations, and this would indicate what is available and allow you to update that. So that's the basic overview of the software. Before we get into details, with this video I want to just go over the file browse mode. So in this mode we get a list of all of the folders and drives that are available. So normal locations like desktop, documents, downloads. This is my C drive. I have a couple of USB. I have a USB hard drive and a USB stick, and then these are our corporate network drives. So I have ready access to all of the storage space that my PC would normally see. I keep a lot of IQ files in my documents under Anritsu IQ files, so I have a number of them here. I select that, and then I see information. So if you were to be looking at this with say just Windows File Explorer, right? The information you get is sketchy. You know the date that the file was last modified. You know the type of the file. You can look at the size and even sort by those things. But a lot of times when you're looking for IQ data on your hard disk, what you really want to know is what was the center frequency or bandwidth or sample rate, right? These are sort of the details that you would be interested in trying to go back and find a file that you took that had certain capture characteristics. And so this gives you a much even GPS coordinates. So some of these I have GPS turned on. Often I'm just using this at my desk inside and I don't have a GPS antenna, but if you do, these might be remote units that are mounted somewhere, and you're interested in finding just ones in a certain location. And all of these columns, of course, you can sort on. And so it gives you a much easier way to browse the IQ files that you have stored. As you have access to a tool like this, you might create a large library of IQ files you've captured over time and need to pull them up, and so you need a way to browse them. That's much easier. Another reason for this mode is, and I'll just again bring up my Windows Explorer view, sort these by name, and it's easier to see. And this is true of most spectrum analyzer products across the industry, not just with Anritsu, where you can capture raw IQ data. Often it's stored in two files that come as a pair. One is the raw binary IQ data, and the other is a metadata file. So these are our DGZ for Anritsu is our IQ data file, and the DGZ-M, the M attached to the end means that's a metadata file. That's actually a text file. If I open that up, I can see that it's got information. The name of the data file that this metadata goes to is given, and along with, it was captured on an Anritsu instrument, and this is the model number, and then I have center frequency, bandwidth, and a lot of the details of the spectrum analyzer used in the capture. So those files come in pairs, and if I want to do something like copy them or delete them or sort of normal file operations, I have to remember to keep them together or they're useless, and that can be a little bit of pain sometimes. So those operations are available here. I can choose to select a couple of these, for instance, and then right click. I have a context menu, so I can copy these, and so I'll just select copy, and just like in Windows File Explorer, if I copy, then it puts those files on the Windows clipboard, and then I could paste them. So I've created just a little demo folder here. I right click and I choose paste, and as expected I get the files. But where I had selected 3 files, I get copied 6, right? Because it knows keep the DGZ and DGZM files together. So it's a much better way to copy the files around, is if you begin here. Same with delete. If I were to choose to delete, it wouldn't delete just the single raw data files, but make sure it deleted them in pairs to keep things clean, right? You don't want a bunch of the files clogging your hard disk that you thought you'd gotten rid of. So that's important. And then I also have the ability to rename. So if I select this one and I choose rename, it was summer, so let's just name it fall. I'm not sure why it was named summer, but I do that, and now I have a file here, fall. And why is that important? So I go back here and I look for that file, and it's been renamed fall, and I have a DGZ, that's my raw data file, and my DGZM. So it renamed both of them to keep them together as a pair. And if I open this one, it also changed the name inside the metadata file so that it references the right data both with the file names and internally. And you have to do all of that in order to keep valid file sets, and it can be a little confusing to remember all of those steps. So doing everything inside of our file browser is a wonderful way to locate the files, to make them available to look at and analyze and play back. It's a good way to just navigate and find what you're looking for and so on. So that is our introduction to the basic overview of our user interface and how to use it, along with how to browse and load files. I didn't mention if I just double click one of these files, then it loads. So the information that's here gets copied up here, and so this is the file that all these other modes are going to act on. And so as I change these screens, why this is no longer visible, but I know the details of the file I'm working with. So thank you for your time, and I hope that you're able to watch the rest of our videos.